Williams, and I'm here to talk about little voices and big ideas. And as a reading recovery teacher, leader, literacy coach, primary teacher, I know firsthand in primary classrooms that big things come from little people. Big ideas can come from little people, and little things matter. For instance, the comma. Now, I'm pretty sure that Rachel Gray did not find inspiration in cooking her family and her dog. But again, little things have big meanings. And to get to big things, we have to think little. Now, the Common Core standards have a huge... Oh, this one didn't work. Yeah, that's all right. We're going to keep going. Common Core standards are built in a line. We're looking at something that builds towards theme in the 11th grade, and once the 11th grade slide gets there, here it is, huge. We couldn't get to that big thing without starting small, and that's really the essence of what I'm talking about here, is thinking about how do we start small. Now, one thing that, good or bad, that we have noticed with the Common Core standards is it really privileges meaning first. This is a different iteration than what we saw under No Child Left Behind and Reading First, where those little element pieces were there first. Now it's about meaning. But even though that's there, that scares a lot of people, mainly because of this man, Jean Piaget, who gave us the idea, the wrong idea really, that children were stuck in these concrete operational things. So you remember the famous experiment where he took beakers, a little short beaker, poured it into a big beaker and asked the kid which one has the most water, and the kid's like, oh, the big one does, every time. Well, this is not true. And today we know that if we take meaning and do the same experiment and say, this beaker has a crack in it, and we need to pour it into a taller beaker so that nobody gets cut, every kid there will say, oh, they have the same amount of water. We also have Lev Vygotsky, who taught us about scaffolding. And between the two, putting meaning and context to something, we can take little people to big places. Now, going back to look at the third grade Common Core standard, it is a huge thing. Kids are really going to have to think hard about this. And when you really think about what it is that's going to be at play for them, it's all of the metacognitive strategies. Every single one of them is going to be needed. Activating prior knowledge, inferring, summarizing, analyzing. We used to be afraid of this until people like Giovanni and Debbie Miller and lots of others taught us in the primary that these are actually things kids do all the time. Now in my district, we got very into Richard Allington's 6 T's, a 2002 article. We're going to talk today about 3 of the T's: talk, text, and teaching. In my district, we really started with this idea of text. And it begins by thoughtfully looking for texts that really matter. They have to matter because they mean something to kids. They can connect to kids, and they're clear examples of themes. Now, if you don't find that, there's a difference between immersion and submersion. You don't want the latter. Texts such as Edward the Emu or Alexander and the Wind-Up Mouse, where the main character is really learning, they think they want to be something other than themselves, but by the end they realize that being me is the very best thing, which is a theme that kids can relate to. We also then move towards very deliberate and yes, sometimes systematic teaching about themes. Themes are big picture life lessons, they're repeated through history. The idea of working together was just as true for the cave people as it is for us today. We also identify major themes that very young children can connect to. Things like getting along can be hard work. Things may not always be what they seem. We don't often appreciate what we have until it's gone. And challenge can make us stronger. Are things that we find in text, and they find them in their own lives. Or, in Swimi's case, we're working together, the little fish scared away the big fish and got some important work done. So again, the picture book and the teaching around that really has helped us. We also want to talk about themes could be stated, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz saying, there's no place like home. Or they can be unstated in The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and we have to infer what it is that we're talking about. But whenever we're talking about themes, where we are in fact summarizing. We also try to get kids to elaborate and clarify, support with examples. What else made you say that? Or what else would support this thinking? And how is this like your own experiences? Ways to take it beyond the obvious. So in summary, it's looking at exemplary texts, immersion, gradual release from Vygotsky's models, time for talk, meaning matters, and yes, collaboration. We cannot do this alone. And the bottom line here is, be brave, as this young woman was.